If your erections have grown weak, if your energy is slipping away, if you've started believing that age alone has stolen your manhood, let me give you a wake-up call. It isn't always age. In fact, in so many men over 60, the real culprit is a simple deficiency in just 3 vitamins. And the good news is this: when you replace what your body is missing, the change can be faster and more powerful than you ever imagined. I'm Dr. Moitkara, a men's health specialist with over 3 decades of experience helping men just like you build their strength, restore their confidence, and enjoy the intimacy they thought was gone for good. I've sat across from thousands of husbands, fathers, and grandfathers, and I can tell you with certainty what you're going through is not the end of thestry. Here's the paradox most men never hear from their doctors. You don't lack desire. You don't lack discipline. What you lack is circulation, stamina, and hormonal balance, all of which are deeply connected to 3 essential vitamins almost every man your age is running low on. That gap between what you feel and what you still want creates frustration, but also curiosity, because once you understand it, the solution becomes clear. And that solution is powerful. With the right forms of vitamin D, vitamin B12, and vitamin E, you can open your blood vessels, generate steady energy, and protect your testosterone. The result is a body that performs with vitality, a mind that feels sharp, and a spirit that feels alive again. Stay with me, because in a moment, I'll also reveal the most dangerous mistake older men make when they start taking these vitamins, and how you can avoid it. Beginning tonight. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my health advice created, especially for men over 60. And I'd love to hear from you. If this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and tell me how I can make these videos more helpful for you. Alright, let's dive straight into the first and most overlooked key to restoring your vitality. It's something your body once made with ease whenever you spent time outdoors, but after 60, it begins to decline sharply, taking your energy, your circulation, and your erections down with it. I'm talking about vitamin D. 1. Vitamin D, the vitamin D, the circulation spark plug. Circulation spark plug. When I think back on the men I've worked with over the years, one conversation comes to mind that captures exactly why vitamin D matters so much. I was sitting across from Paul, a 67-year-old retired teacher. He looked me in the eye and said quietly, "Doc, I still love my wife. I still want to be close to her, but my body just won't respond. It's like something's missing." His frustration was heavy, and I could feel the weight of his words. That moment stuck with me because Paul wasn't alone. He was one of countless men who believed age had stolen his masculinity, when in reality, the issue was far simpler. His body was running low on vitamin D. We often call it the sunshine vitamin, but for men over 60, vitamin D is much more than that. It is the spark that flips the switch in your blood vessels, allowing them to open and deliver oxygen-rich blood where you need it most. Without it, circulation slows, nitric oxide production falls, and intimacy becomes more difficult than it should be. What surprises many men is that more than 40% of adults in their 60s and 70s are deficient, even those who eat reasonably well and stay active. The truth is, as you age, your body simply doesn't produce or absorb vitamin D the way it once did. And that hidden deficiency can quietly rob you of energy, mood, stamina, and sexual performance. But the good news is powerful. Just 15 to 20 minutes of morning sunlight can help your body create what it needs. Adding salmon, tuna, or fortified dairy into your meals can rebuild your levels. And when diet and sunlight aren't enough, a high-quality vitamin D3 supplement can be the difference between feeling drained and feeling alive. I've seen men go from barely finishing a walk around the block to laughing on the golf course, traveling with their wives, and rediscovering the closeness they thought had slipped away. Watching that transformation reminds me why I do this work. Vitamin D alone can bring remarkable change, but of course, blood flow is only part of the story. Because even if circulation improves, what happens if your body still lacks the fuel to sustain it? That's where the second essential vitamin steps in. And for many men, it's the missing key that explains years of exhaustion. Let's talk about that next. Vitamin B12, the energy generator 2. Vitamin B12, the energy generator. Not long ago, I met Robert, a 72-year-old retired firefighter. On the outside, he looked like a strong man who'd lived a life of courage and discipline. But when he sat across from, he sighed and admitted, "Doc, I don't get it. I sleep my 8 hours. I eat my meals, but I still feel like I'm dragging through every single day. My brain feels foggy, my body feels heavy, and when it comes time to be close with my wife, I just don't have it in me." His words were honest and raw, and he could see how much it weighed on him, not just physically but emotionally too. What Robert was describing was classic vitamin B12 deficiency, something I see in countless men over 60. Vitamin B12 is not just another nutrient. It is the foundation for energy production. Without it, your body can't take the food you eat and turn it into the fuel your cells need. No matter how healthy your diet is, if your B12 is low, your engine runs on empty. And there's another piece. B12 is essential for making red blood cells, the very carriers that transport oxygen throughout your body. Without enough red blood cells, your muscles tire quickly, your brain slows down, and even your sexual organs don't get the oxygen they need to perform. That's why so many men with low B12 describe not only fatigue, but also a sense of disconnection from themselves and from the people they love. Here's the challenge. As men age, the stomach produces less acid, and without it, B12 from food isn't absorbed properly. So even if you're eating eggs, dairy, or meat, it may not be enough. The solution is straightforward but powerful. A high-quality supplement, especially in the methylcobalamin form, bypasses those absorption issues and gives your body what it can use immediately. In some cases, B12 injections prescribed by a doctor can provide an even stronger boost. I've watched men go from dozing off in the afternoon to hiking, laughing with their grandkids, and enjoying evenings with their wives again, all because their bodies finally had the energy to match their spirit. Correcting a B12 deficiency can feel like switching on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you're awake, alert, and present again. But energy and circulation alone don't tell the whole story. Because if your blood vessels are silently being damaged and your hormones are slipping, everything you've rebuilt can start to fade. That's where the third vitamin comes in, and its role might surprise you. 3. Vitamin E. Vitamin E, the fertility defender, the fertility defender. I'll never forget James, a 70-year-old retired pilot who came into my office one quiet afternoon. He sat down, folded his hands, and said, "Doc, I'm doing everything right. I eat clean, I stay active, I keep myself in shape, but lately I feel off. My drive is down. I don't bounce back the way I used to, and honestly, I don't feel like a man anymore." There was no bitterness in his voice, only confusion and disappointment. James wasn't careless. He wasn't neglecting his health. What he was missing was something that even many doctors rarely talk about. Vitamin E. Most people think of vitamin E as something you take for your skin or maybe for fertility, but its impact on men over 60 goes far deeper. Vitamin E is a natural antioxidant, a defender against the silent enemies of aging, inflammation, and oxidative stress. These two forces gradually damage your blood vessels, your hormones, and even your reproductive organs. You don't notice it happening all at once. It's not a sudden crash. It's a slow erosion, like a leak in a roof that goes unseen until the damage is widespread. By the time men like James come to me, they've been living with this hidden stress for years. Here's why vitamin E matters so much. Erections are not only about desire, they're about blood flow. When your vessels are stiff or inflamed, blood simply can't reach where it needs to go. And when that happens, your confidence, your intimacy, and your sense of vitality suffer. Vitamin E helps keep those blood vessels flexible, protecting them against the wear and tear of time. At the same time, it supports your body's ability to produce testosterone, a hormone that doesn't just fuel sex drive, but also influences mood, motivation, and overall energy. Without enough vitamin E, testosterone can dip, leaving you feeling weaker, less resilient, and less connected to life. The good news is that restoring vitamin E isn't complicated. A handful of almonds or sunflower seeds, a drizzle of olive oil on your salad or leafy greens like spinach can give your body what it craves. And for men who need more, a natural, high-quality vitamin E supplement can make a profound difference. I've seen men return months later with a spark in their eyes, a spring in their step, and a renewed sense of confidence they thought was gone. Now you may be asking yourself, what happens when these three vitamins are combined? Can they actually work together to multiply their effects? The answer is yes, and the synergy they create may be the very key to unlocking the vitality you've been searching for. Why these three work better together. The Vitality Triangle 4. Why these three work better. Together, the Vitality Triangle. Over the years, I've seen men try one supplement after another, hoping for a spark. But what really opened my eyes was watching what happened when the right pieces were finally put together. Walter, a 68-year-old retired high school coach, came to me after months of frustration. He had already started taking vitamin D because he'd heard it was good for his bones. A few months later, when fatigue became overwhelming, he added vitamin B12. Later, after one of our conversations, he began incorporating vitamin E. But here's what struck me. Each vitamin helped a little on its own, but the real transformation didn't happen until he started taking all three consistently. One afternoon, he walked into my office with a grin I'll never forget and said, "Doc, I don't know what you did, but I feel like I've got a new engine under the hood." That is the magic of synergy. These vitamins are powerful individually, but together they amplify each other in a way that restores balance to a system that's been slowly wearing down. Vitamin D helps open your blood vessels, allowing circulation to flow more freely. Vitamin B12 builds the red blood cells that carry oxygen through those newly opened channels, fueling every organ and every muscle. And vitamin S stands guard, protecting the vessels from damage while boosting the testosterone that keeps your drive and your confidence alive. Alone, each one plays its part, but when combined, they create what I call the Vitality Triangle. Circulation, energy, and hormonal support working together. In harmony. I've seen men who had resigned themselves to decline suddenly discover a second wind. They wake up more refreshed, their thoughts feel clearer, and when the moment calls for closeness, their bodies respond in ways they thought belonged only to their past. It's not about feeling young again. It's about feeling whole, strong, and present in the life you're living right now. But there's something I must warn you about. Because most men never get to experience this synergy. They unknowingly make a critical mistake that cancels out the very benefits they're trying to achieve. And unless you avoid it, you may never see the results you deserve. Let's talk about that next. The number one mistake men make. 5. The number one mistake men make. One morning, a man named Gerald came into my office carrying a plastic grocery bag. He was 74, thoughtful, and determined to take control of his health. He laid the bag on my desk, opened it up, and spread out at least a dozen bottles of vitamins and supplements. "Doc," he said with frustration in his voice, "I've been taking all of these for months. but I still feel tired, foggy, and nothing is improving in the bedroom. What am I doing wrong? I could hear the disappointment and confusion, and it broke my heart because Gerald was doing what so many men do, trying his best, but unknowingly making the biggest mistake I see in men over 60. The truth is, not all vitamins are the same. The form, the quality, and the consistency make the difference between a supplement that changes your life and one that just passes through your system. Most cheap store-bought vitamins are synthetic or poorly absorbed. Take vitamin B12. For example, many generic brands use cyanocobalamin, a form that older men often cannot properly convert. The body struggles to use it, leaving you still deficient. What you need is methylcobalamin, the active form your body can recognize and use immediately. The same goes for vitamin D. Many men pick up D2 because it's cheaper, but D2I is far less effective than D3. And with vitamin E, synthetic versions lack the full spectrum your body needs to truly support testosterone and protect blood vessels. The other mistake is inconsistency. Taking a pill every now and then, when you remember, will not change years of deficiency. Your body thrives on rhythm. It needs steady daily support to rebuild circulation, restore energy, and balance hormones. Gerald wasn't failing because he didn't care. He was failing because he hadn't been told the truth. Once we switched him to high-quality forms and built a daily routine, the results were remarkable. Within weeks, he came back saying, "Doc, I finally feel like myself again." That kind of transformation doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from doing it right. And now that you know what to avoid, the question becomes, how do you make this simple and sustainable so it fits seamlessly into your life? The answer is easier than you might think, and I'll show you the exact daily routine that works best for men over 60. Your Daily Vitality Routine 6. Your Daily Vitality Routine. When men sit across from me in my office, they often ask the same question with a mix of hope and hesitation. "Doc, just tell me what to do each day. I don't need complicated. I just need something that works." I respect that question deeply because at this stage of life, most men aren't looking for gimmicks or endless bottles of pills. They want something clear, simple, and sustainable. That's exactly what he shared with Frank, a 66-year-old former carpenter who came to me after months of struggling with low energy, restless sleep, and fading confidence in the bedroom. He wasn't weak or careless. He was simply tired of guessing. What he needed was a daily routine he could trust. We didn't overhaul Frank's life. Instead, we built a rhythm. Each morning, before anything else, he began his day with a tall glass of water and his B12 supplement, taken with a protein-rich breakfast. That one step alone helped his body create the red blood cells that carried oxygen through his system. After breakfast, I asked him to step outside for just 15 minutes in the morning sunlight, letting his body naturally produce vitamin D. On cloudy days or during the winter months, he took a high-quality vitamin D3 supplement with his first meal. At lunch, he made one small but powerful change, adding a handful of almonds or sunflower seeds, drizzling olive oil over his salad, and sometimes tossing in a few leaves of spinach or Swiss chard. That was his natural source of vitamin E, protecting his blood vessels and supporting his testosterone. Nothing about Frank's plan was extreme. No expensive shakes, no complicated regimens, no overwhelming changes, just 3 deliberate steps built into the rhythm of his day. And within weeks, the difference was obvious. He told me he felt more awake in the mornings, had the stamina to play with his grandchildren, and most importantly, he felt present and connected with his wife in a way he hadn't for years. That's the power of a daily vitality routine. It doesn't just give you health, it gives you back your life. But before you start building your own routine, I want to leave you with one final message. Something every man over 60 needs to hear, but rarely does. And once you understand it, your entire perspective on aging and masculinity may change forever. Conclusion, a doctor's final message. 7. Conclusion, a doctor's final message. As I look back on the countless men I've sat with over the years, one truth stands out. It is never too late. Too many men over 60 believe their best years are behind them. That fading energy, weak erections, and low confidence are just part of aging. But I've seen what happens when men give their bodies the tools they've been missing. Vitamin D reopens the flow of life through your veins. Vitamin B12 sparks the energy that keeps you moving, thinking, and connecting. Vitamin E shields your blood vessels and hormones, protecting the very core of your masculinity. Together, they create a triangle of vitality that can restore not only your health, but your spirit. So if you've been wondering whether you still have time to feel strong, alive, and fully yourself again, let me assure you the answer is yes. It begins with one simple choice today.